Jayson is leading the solar energy movement across America. Raised in a trailer park with no college education, he's built 2 multi-million-dollar companies and is currently building a billion-dollar company as the founder of Power Home Solar. The 2019 Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year inspires others about his incredible journey with his podcast, True Underdog, a top 3 ranking among Apple entrepreneurship podcasts. His new book, Own Your Power, is a bestseller, and TV enthusiasts recognize him as the controversial judge on the award-winning television show, 2 Minute Drill.
So first, I want to say thanks to everybody here for being a part of this, to put this thing together for the future leaders and the speakers, tomorrow's leaders, Brand Star, everybody. Cystic fibrosis, I said that correctly, right? I didn't know a lot about it until a couple years ago. We've been a part of donating some money to different charities like that. And anytime that you can help or pay it forward, it's important. We get stuck in our own ways sometimes, and we forget that people need help. People need to be taught things. People need to give back because it comes full circle. And what I'm going to talk about today is some of that. I've got a book out called Own Your Power. No BS, no excuses. The time is now. And I'm no different than a lot of you folks out there watching or listening, to where you've had bumps in the road. You've had obstacles you've had to overcome. You've had deficiencies in your life, whether you were born poor or born rich, born without a mom or dad, or however your situation is. Everybody's got their own problems that they've got to overcome, right? And they've got to put that perspective and change their mindset. So I'm going to kind of go over a few chapters here and really try to inspire and motivate people to get out of their way and have 8 reasons to not live a no-excuse life, right? And so I'm going to start by, it mentioned the 2019 EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award that I won. I remember when I went to the event, I had to really show myself off to all of these judges and pitch them why I should be the EY winner. I didn't even know that we applied for the thing. And a buddy of mine, we were having a little adult game night, right? We had adults over, we have a game night. And a buddy of mine, Brian, who works for EY up in Michigan, is like, hey, I hear you're up for a finalist for the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award. We get tons of awards, and I'm not trying to diminish any kind of award, but I was like, yeah, whatever, yeah, it's fine. He's like, are you going to the thing? I said, I ain't going to the thing. I'm not interested, it's no big deal. He said, this is a big deal. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, Damon, I think it's Damon John from FUBU, right? He won the award. Several people have won the award. You need to take this seriously. So I call my guy, Raj, right? Roger's our PR blogger. And I say, dude, I think it's next week. Can you schedule me to be a part of the event and the whole festivities? And what do I got to do? What do I got to know? I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. How am I going to pitch this? So he sets it up. I get the folder. I open it up when we get there for the dinner and the cocktail hour, and I go through and I see that everybody there, all the judges, are ex-winners, right? And they're all white shoe Ivy League folks. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you are. I'm just not that. So I'm walking around. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to find my groove. And Chevy Arnold, who is over the entire thing for the Southeast, comes up and starts talking to me and Roger. And at the time, Zion Williamson was debating leaving Duke, this is 2019, and going MBA or not. The Pelicans had the first pick. They ended up drafting him. But they said on there that he might go back to Duke. So I mentioned to Chevy and Roger, I said, hey, Zion Williamson said he might go back to Duke. She says, is that where you went to college? Before I could even think about it, I said, I didn't go to college. She said, oh, you're the one. So I was like, I'm the one what? You're one of the very few finalists ever that didn't go to college that's up here for an EY award that's built a business, right? And I'm like, I've got something. Makes me unique. It makes me different. Something I thought might have been a problem, something that made me insecure in life. I had something that made me different to stand out. We talk about sheep, we talk about lions. How can I put this into my pitch to show them that I'm a lion, that I want to win? So that's what I did. I went in there and I had to talk to 10 judges and then go into another room, talk to 10 judges. And I told them why I should be the winner, because I bootstrapped, because nobody gave me anything, because I invested my whole life savings in building a business, not once, not twice, but 3 times. That I didn't have the education. I had to learn from experience and do all those things. And when I left that meeting, Roger called me and said, how do you think it went? Usually 9 times out of 10, someone does an interview or they do something, they go, oh, I could have, I should have, I could have done that, I could have. I dropped the mic. I said, there's nothing I could change. I should win. Fast forward, we go to the event. I'm a little nervous. We're at the table. They're showing a lot of philanthropy. We give over $1 million in philanthropy every year, right? Give it up for that because that's important. You got to give back, right? That's what this is about. But they weren't showing that on the video. They were showing my competitors having something else on the video. Like, you know, them doing the philanthropy, us doing nothing but just building solar. And I was like, I looked to my wife, I said, I don't think I'm gonna win. Like, I thought I was gonna win. Now I don't think I'm gonna win. They called my name. I was in awe, right? I got to go up there, was the first one to win. You know, they had 8 categories that night. And I thought that I only had like 60 seconds to give a speech. So I did it in 60 seconds. Turns out some people are going 8, 9 minutes. This was 2019. Had I known, I'd still be doing the speech today in 2021. I assure you. I had a lot to people to thank and to tell the story about how we got there. But you join a group, a brotherhood of, you know, being an EY entrepreneur winner. Men, female, all of them in there together. I got invited to the hotel party on the top floor, and they said, hey, Jayson, you should share your story. You should write a book. I said, I've never even read a book. They said, well, you need to write a book. I said, well, I don't know about that. So I kind of shelved that. Went back to the room. I'm sitting there with my wife. We're overlooking the Atlanta Braves' new stadium. That's where it was at. It was in Atlanta. And I had this, how the F did I get here moment? Like, how did I get here? And it reminded me of about 21 years before that, where I was a 17-year-old kid with my girlfriend pregnant. I dropped out of school. I didn't have a college education. I didn't graduate a traditional high school. I worked since I was 14, helping my parents pay bills. Lived in a trailer park. My parents were blue collar, working 2, 3 jobs, whatever we had to do. I had no excuses. Made me who I am. But I remember being back in that moment with my girlfriend at the time pregnant, and us going through a lot of issues because her mom was telling her she had to give the baby up for adoption, that she was not allowed to have this child because she was 16, turning 17 years old. It wasn't a choice, that she could not have this kid, and that she would be bringing around, her mom would be bringing around different people to adopt our child. And I'm 17, turning 18 years old. I don't know my rights. I don't know what's going on. I'm fighting with my girlfriend because her mom's so involved. And I remember that moment. I remember going through that process of when Hannah, my daughter, was born. And I remember that Liz, my wife, we're married now 20 plus years, 4 kids, 2 grandkids and everything. So there's a good thing to the story, right? Right? But I remember her telling me, because we were on and off a lot when we were young because we were kids raising kids. And I remember her telling me, look, I'm getting induced tomorrow. You want to come see Hannah born, show up to the hospital. Well, I showed up with a Polaroid camera. For those that don't know what a Polaroid camera is, it's cool, look it up. But it's a Polaroid camera, you take a picture, you shake it out, it was good. I was excited. I showed up with my buddy Benji. I went into the hospital. As I pulled up to the hospital, I saw her mom and her sister running out of the parking lot. I'm like, okay. I walk in, I said, is Elizabeth Stovey here? The nurse said, no. I said, I just saw her parents, her mom and her sister, and she's having my kid. I want to see my daughter. She said, she's not here. She's actually under an alias name. And oh, sorry. Yeah, she's under an alias name, right? And so I then said, well, what am I supposed to do? I was getting emotional. She's like, well, this is when you can go to the nursery and see the kids. They turned the names around, but you could see them. So I say, what can I do? She said, go up there and take pictures of the kids. You won't know which one's yours, but you can take pictures and figure it out. So I go upstairs, 18 years old, and I start taking pictures of these kids that I don't know which kid's mine. I broke down. I got emotional. Going back to 2019, when I remember how did I get here, I remember that moment that happened where I couldn't see my kid be born. I didn't know which kid was mine. I was leaving. I was upset. I was 18 years old. I decided 2 lives were going to change that day. One, I was going to change the person I was, and I was going to make my own map, which is really my first chapter in the book, that nobody, not her mom, not my parents, not friends, not bosses, not peers, not haters, not anybody, would dictate my map, that it's my life and it's my map to live. And my daughter's life would change because I was going to be in her life and be the best I can be, regardless of what was going on. So I went and got a loan on my car that day and sued for joint custody. I was nervous her mom was going to force her to give the baby up for adoption and or call social services, which she threatened to do. Fast forward, I get to see my daughter for the first time 7 days later. That moment was a defining moment for me to really turn on and say, I have to control my own destiny. Now, that's a personal time that's happened, but it's happened in business many, many times, where I've been at a crossroad where I've got to make a decision. Either I'm going to go right or I'm going to go left. And the problem we have as entrepreneurs, as people, is that we get stuck in the mud and we don't make a decision. And that's the worst thing you can do, because then you live with regret forever. But if you make a decision and you make your own map, you might not get the results you want, but you're going to learn from that. You're going to get more knowledge and experience. I told you, I didn't go to college. I tell this to people all the time. True story, I didn't know what EBITDA meant 4 years ago. I got a company that's going to do $800 million in revenue this year. I didn't know what EBITDA meant 4 years ago. That's as true as it can be. But I didn't have to, because I hired people smarter than me in different categories to help me grow and to elevate, and it could be part of what we're doing. You know, I think that brings me to chapter 2. There's no elevator in life. You got to take the stairs. You know, as an entrepreneur, opening a home security business when I was 24 years old, knocking doors, doing the pitch, hey, how many cars you got going by your house? I'd like to put the sign in your yard, give you a free system. It's $1 a day monitoring. Bam. I was selling home security all the time, training people to do it. I loved it. I was passionate about it. I had a why. I felt like I was protecting people. You know, they were 19 times less likely to get broken into if they got a home security system. So I loved what I did. That passion allowed me to continue to build the business because people would follow me into that. But I was a young entrepreneur that thought I knew everything. I had to control everything. The problem is when we think we know everything or we think we're great at everything, we're really not great at all. And we have to realize that you can be great. Like, I feel like I'm great at like 2 things. And then I'm good at like 5. And then the rest I suck. And that's okay. That's okay, because that's how everybody usually is. And I think life and business are like puzzles. And so when I say there's no elevator in life, you got to take the stairs. You got to take the time to get the experience. You got to have enough humility and a way to put your ego aside and learn from other people and trust the process. Had somebody just told me a bunch of things that I didn't live through the experiences, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. You know, I didn't have to go to an Ivy League college. And nothing against the people that do, but I remember days where I was running a business early on and I was intimidated. I was bothered about that. Like, I wasn't as smart. That's kind of what we've instilled in our kids and we grew up with. If you don't go to college, you're a loser. That's not true. I mean, look it up. Most of your billionaires didn't go to college. That's what happens. I purposely do not force my kids to want to go to college. I don't put that on them where they feel they have to do that. I tell them, you got to find something that makes you happy. And learning the process, taking the stairs, getting that experience really builds that knowledge and experience up. I go to never be held hostage. You know, we talk about in life and in business, there are people in your life that hold you down. Could be a spouse, could be a sibling, could be somebody that works for you. You know, we talked earlier about having door knockers, and the problem when you're building a sales organization is sometimes you build your company around 1 or 2 top salespeople. And then they hold you hostage and say, you need to pay me more. I'm worth more, pay me more, or I'm gonna leave. And then you're stuck compromising your morals in business or in life for somebody holding you hostage. Everybody who's been in business has experienced that before, and people in their personal lives have experienced it as well. Where you just feel like, you know, hey, because I'm blood related to this person, I have to have a relationship with them. You don't. You know, I've had bumps in the road with my family. I've had bumps in the road with my wife's family, right? But you gotta draw the line. Being blood related to somebody doesn't entitle them to see your kids or entitle them to have a relationship with you. A relationship, a friendship, a partnership, that's mutual. You give and you take. It's beneficial for both. And a lot of times we allow and compromise our happiness, our energy, our morals, our belief in business and personal by being held hostage. It goes back to the map. If you're making your own map, you can't be held hostage. You can't let people dictate and handcuff you to be who you're intended to be, to have the relationships you want to have, to dictate where you're going to go. You know, the next chapter we talk about Turn failure into fuel. I failed many times. I mean, I got a lot of awards. They never give me awards for going broke or not getting a paycheck for 2 years, right? When I did security, I was crushing it, right? I was building a business. Security was hot. It was, 2004 to like 2015. I was exploding. I was like, this is great. Did it in 2 companies. Sold it, made some money, and said, I'm going to get into solar. I love solar. Why? Because I can put a dent in this universe. I can make a difference in people's lives. I can create a way for people to own their power and not rent their power, right? A way for people to have energy independence and not just depend on everything else. And I got excited about that. So I opened a solar company, 2015. Did $3 million in sales, lost over $1 million. So the money I made from the home security business, which wasn't much, a little over a couple $1 million, stuck back in the business. Year 2, did 14 million in sales, still lost money. For 22 months, me and my partner didn't get a paycheck. Here I was building my career, organizations, running a security company, thinking I knew it all. Oh, I'm gonna get into solar. I made money, I'm good. I got this house on Lake Norman on the water, $2 million house in a Trump neighborhood. Life is great. I'm gonna do this solar thing. Well, life wasn't great. The end of 2015, I had to make a decision. I had 35 employees. I told you we did 3 million in sales. I had to make a decision if I was gonna shut down. I was at a Disney trip that I probably shouldn't have went on. I prepaid for it before, didn't have the money to really go. I'm watching the kids have a good time. I'm getting irritated. Like, we should be using this money to fix the business. What am I doing? And I was getting upset. And I had to look at my wife and I said, look, I don't know what to do. This is the first time that I feel like I'm gonna have to quit. I've got 34 employees. We're losing money. We're not getting paid. Everything I've worked for in my life is in this company. What do I do? She said, you gotta pray about it. So I did. I woke up the next morning and I had this fierce attitude that I was gonna kick the door in, fire everybody, and change the way it was gonna do business, right? Well, I did kick the door in after I sold my house on the lake and took that money and put it in the business so I wouldn't be held hostage. So we had money to continue to operate. And then I went in and fired about 80% of the people and started to hire on culture, personality, integrity, morals. Why are they here? Do they have a why? Or are they here for a paycheck? I started laying the groundwork to building a great culture. I started to turn failure into wins, into success, because I would go and try to sell something. I didn't get it. I wanted to share and take that information I failed at and teach it to the other people. I knew I had to keep falling down and struggle in order to get better. I knew I had to do that. And that brings me to scared money don't make money. I had to bet on myself. I sold my house. Wife gave me the stink eye, and I had to stick everything, not only the money I made from the first 2 security companies, but the money I made or the money I had in the house, I had to stick in the business, and we downsized. And I had kids going, why are we living here? It's just what we got to do. Sometimes you got to put your ego aside. You got to check it. Sometimes you got to be humble for the greater good. Sometimes you got to realize that success isn't what you have, who you are, or how much money you make. It's being fulfilled. That's being successful. I know tons of people that are as successful as can be that don't have a lot of things. They don't make a lot of money, but they're so happy and they're so fulfilled. Teachers, people that help run foundations, that give back to the community. They're fulfilled. They don't do it for self-righteousness. They do it because it feels good. And I knew that I had to get right by that. I knew I had to be a part of something that felt good. So I put everything and doubled down and grew the business up. Now, year 3, we ended up doing 40 million in sales. We were profitable. Year 4, we did 105. Year 5, we did 185. Last year, we did 360 million. We'll break 700 million this year, and we're getting ready to go public. So that is called scared money don't make money, because you double down on yourself. We're at 2,400 employees and in 15 states now. And had I shut down and quit, we wouldn't have those 2,400 employees. We wouldn't have those 30,000 customers. We wouldn't have made a dent in the universe about going green and having renewable energy and creating new jobs that we've done. And that brings me to love your haters. We've all got haters. I love to talk about it. It's my favorite thing in the world. If there's anything sick about me that's twisted, it's that I love haters to tell me I can't and I won't. I mentioned my mother-in-law, right? She's now my mother-in-law, and I love her dearly. We got a good relationship. But I told you what she put me through early, and the relationship was rocky for years. But while I was struggling in the solar business in 16, after I was selling my house and putting that money in the business, my mother-in-law saw an opportunity and told my wife, hey, I'd like to invest in Jayson's company. So my wife came to me. My mom'd like to put 100 grand in the company. Now, take in mind, I've already put like 3 million in the business. 100 grand ain't gonna do much. And she told me, and I said, heck no. I'd rather fall off a truck, get ran over 8 times. I don't want anything from your mom. There's not a chance. Heck no. I'm not doing it. No way. I'm out. Like, I want nothing from her. I'd rather drop dead, leave me alone. I don't want to do it. I was upset. She's like, really? I said, yeah, really. Like, I want nothing from her. I had this sickness because how they used to judge me. Her family used to judge me living in a trailer park, told me I could stick my feet outside the window and move my trailer. That's what they used to say. And I used to be like, can we really do that? Like, we could. It's pretty cool. But I had this mentality. I would be in high school and people would make fun of me for wearing fake Tommy Hilfigers. And I was like, I hated feeling less than because of the money I had or where I grew up. Everyone can relate to that. Sometimes you feel less than. Maybe it's because of your gender or your race or where you live. I was feeling that because I was broke, because I went to a school where people had money and I didn't. And I struggled with that. It gave me this thing like, I don't ever want to feel that again. So I started to turn that hate into fuel. When people would hate on me, I turned it into fuel. Fast forward about the money. I went to my business partner. I said, dude, you're going to get a hoot out of this. Tish wants to invest $100,000 in the business. I said, hell no. He said, dude, we should do that. Why? We don't need it. I just put over $1 million. I sold the house. We don't need it. He said, man, what better way than to make your mother-in-law, who's been your biggest critic and your biggest hater, make money? We won't even touch the money, Jayson. We'll put it in a different account. We never have to touch it. How awesome and sick would it be that you get her paid back? And I said, that's a great idea. So we said yes. We stuck it in an account. We didn't touch it. 3 years later, she was a millionaire. We bought her out. That's called turning your haters. You've got to love your haters. That's taking that and making it. What bigger way to turn that hater to a fan, to make them a millionaire, right? Someone who didn't believe in me. You can't hate the haters. You got to love them. You got to understand that there's 3 kinds of areas that people sit in their life. And I've been in all 3. I'm guilty of it. 1, you can be positive and you can love people that are successful and you can promote and elevate people and you can want to learn and be knowledgeable and train and be better, right? That's where we want to stay. That's where I'm at today. Like, you just want to help people and just do great things, and I love to see success. Group 2 is those people that are insecure. We all know those people. My family was insecure. As I started to elevate and make money, my family would be like, I have to take my shoes off. Like, why is your house so big? Like, it was insecure. They weren't hating. They were insecure. You ever think of Homer Simpson backing up into the bushes, right? And he's like, oh, I don't want to be here. There's people that live insecure. I've been there before. I've been around people where I'm like, whoa, I'm kind of insecure. I was insecure about people who graduated college. I was insecure about running a business at 24 years old, right? And then the third group is your haters, the people that your success is their failure, right? And their failure is your success, and they blame and they point the finger and they make excuses. That's all they do. We know some of those people. They're toxic. You don't have to hate them back. You need to get away from them, and you need to turn that into fuel to be positive. I had so many people tell me when I left the security business to open up the solar business, that will never, ever, ever work. Good luck with that. Glad to say some of them work for me now. Some of them are dealers for me now. They're begging to get into the industry now. But that's what it's about. It's not about holding people in that hatred of mud. It's about elevating them and turning them into fans, right? Team out. I talked about it earlier. Life is like a puzzle, and you got to find people around you that aren't the same, but that are better than you in other ways. You can't be great at everything, so find people great at other things. I had to find a CFO, knew what EBITDA meant, knew how to get our books right. I didn't know what we were doing. I used QuickBooks. We're doing 18 million sales. I'm using QuickBooks. That's a true story. That's not good, okay? Thank God we've had audited financials. We've done everything since then. Things that I've learned as I go. But I also had to bring in a president that understood how to build corporate structure and HR and things that I didn't understand. I'm a sales guy. I'm a motivator. I'm an inspirer. I could scale. I'm not good at that other stuff, and that's okay. I don't have to be. I surround myself with other great leaders that can be great at that stuff, and I could lead them. And that's about teaming out. You find people, whether you're hiring people or whether you're going into a relationship, that can elevate you, that can uplift you, not hold you down. You want to be around. You only get one life. You don't get a redo, and all your energy, you want to make sure it's elevating yourself and the people around you care about. That's what this is about. And last but not least is focus on the play-by-play. You know, every single day you have to set goals. And the biggest problem people have is they set these extremely high goals and they get discouraged. I'm gonna open this business, I'm gonna be rich. Doesn't work that way. You need to open a business because you love what you do. And then you wanna help other people get a job. You know, I have 3 rules. When you're running a business or you're building a business, rule 1 is the first people you pay when you're making money in the business is your people. The second thing you pay is your vendors, and the third is reinvest. And people say, when do you pay yourself? You don't. When you're a true entrepreneur and you're building a business, you're living off ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly. Or if it's me, it's SpaghettiOs. I love SpaghettiOs, right? That's what you live off. You don't go and open a business because you want to be rich. You open a business because you want to make a difference. And you want to bet on yourself. You want to be a leader. People will follow you if you show them you're reinvesting in the company and you believe in something. But when you don't believe in something and you're selfish and you're taking that money out of the business, people won't follow you. As we go into this world, as we continue to get through COVID-21, COVID-23, all the COVIDs that are going to be coming, right? I truly believe they're going to change every time, right? I don't know when this is going to end. But as we go through these things, you need to reach out and help people. You need to find a way to make a difference. You need to understand that we've got one shot. Maybe it's call somebody you haven't talked to in a while, call a parent, call a friend, help somebody out at a bus stop, help somebody out at the grocery store. Give back to a foundation. We're in a world where everybody is just taking and taking and taking, and it's time to start giving back. It's time to start doing things because we have a why bigger than us. It's time to start being a part of elevating people and making a difference in life rather than trying to be self-induced and try to just grow ourselves. Because what will happen is what I mentioned earlier is that full circle. Things won't go good, you'll eventually break down, and that's how this happens. You have to find a way. You have to write yourself. You have to set those goals. I have a motto. I don't set anything past 180 days. I set a weekly goal, a monthly goal, a 3-month goal, and a 6-month goal. That's it. So when the CFO goes, what's the budget next year? I don't know. I'm not going to give that to you because I don't know, because I'll get discouraged if I don't hit it. But if I can focus and stay in the light right in front of me today, this week, this month, 3 months, and 6 months, it's never too big. Now I'm getting little wins, and those little wins make a difference. And you take those wins and you share them with other people. You allow them to get wins. You allow them to be elevated and make a difference. Now, I know I'm running out of time, right? But I will say this. 2022 is coming. The world is going to continue to be hard. We're all going to have these obstacles. You need to ask yourself, is it going to be day 1 that you make a difference in someone's life, or is it going to be one day? Is it going to be day 1 that you go out and make your own map, or is it going to be one day? Is it going to be day 1 that you want to go out and do everything you've wanted to do? Bet on yourself, or is it going to be one day? And I hope that you say it's day 1. That's all I've got. Bam!